50% of veterans leave their first civilian job within just 12 months. I was one of them. Actually, I was worse than the statistic. My departure from service wasn't planned. There was no smooth transition, barely a 6-month runway, no carefully executed TAP checklist. One day, I was in uniform with a mission, a rank, a tribe. Then the next day, I was just a guy with a mortgage and no idea what came next. So I took the first job that would have me. It lasted 8 months. Then I bounced to another one, then another. 7 years of jumping from job to job, company to company, always feeling like I was living someone else's life. During those years, I started drinking heavily. I pulled away from all my friends. I stopped doing the things that used to make me feel alive. I wasn't just unemployed or underemployed. I was lost. Completely, fundamentally lost. Look, it took me 7 years to figure out what I'm gonna show you in the next 10 minutes. I wasn't struggling to find the right job. I was struggling to rebuild my identity because the military systematically builds who you are, and separation systematically strips all of that away. And nobody warned me that a job title couldn't fill that void. So in the next 10 minutes, I'm gonna show you what you actually lost at separation, why your career can't carry the weight of all 3 pillars. And we're going to start the assessment that helps you rebuild. This isn't just theory. These are actual questions you'll answer right now and over the next 5 weeks. So let's begin. But before we get into the actual assessment questions, you need to understand what you're actually trying to rebuild, because you can't fix a problem that you don't understand. From the moment you stepped into service, the military was building your identity through 5 mechanisms. The first one, values indoctrination. I'm sure some of y'all remember the acronym leadership: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, personal courage. Not suggestions, your actual operating system. Number 2, your role had clarity. You had a rank, you had an MOS, you had a unit. You knew exactly who you were in hierarchy. Here's an example. I'm a sergeant, 42 Alpha, 4101 in 159 Aviation Brigade. That wasn't your job description. It was your identity. Number 3, collective identity. You weren't an individual. You were part of something bigger. The military, your branch, your unit, that we became part of your I. Number 4, mission clarity. Every day had purpose, connected to something transcendent. Even when the task was miserable, you knew why it mattered. And 5, you had a built-in tribe. Your unit wasn't coworkers. They were family, people who had your back in life or death situations, who understood without any explanation at all. Look, those 5 things created 3 pillars of your existence: identity, who you are, your rank, your role, your values; purpose, what you're called to do, your mission, your contribution, your reason for waking up; belonging, where your people are, your tribe, your community, the people who get it without you having to explain. Then separation happened, or happens for those of you who are still in service, going through transition now. They take your rank. You're not a sergeant anymore. You're just your first name. They take your mission. No more clear purpose connecting you to something bigger. No more structure, time and place of where to be, when to be there. They take your tribe, your unit, scattered, and now you're surrounded by people who just don't understand. They take your role clarity. No more, this is exactly where you fit. They take your collective identity. You're no longer part of the most respected institution in America. And then they hand you a resume template and said, go find a job. It'll be easy. So you tried. You took whatever job came first, or you applied to 50 positions, or maybe you chased the safe defense contractor role, and you tried to fill the void of three things: identity, purpose, and belonging, with just one thing: a career. Look, that's why it doesn't work. That's why even good jobs still feel empty. That's why I bounced for 7 years and drank myself into numbness. I was trying to make a job do what only a rebuilt identity could do. But here's the good news: you can rebuild. Not by finding the perfect job, but by answering the questions that reveal who you are now, what you're called to do next, and where you belong. And that process starts today, right now, with the first questions from the assessment. Over the next 6 minutes, I'm walking you through your first assessment questions. These aren't random. They establish your starting point, because you can't build a roadmap without knowing where you currently are. So get out a journal, open up your notes app, or grab a piece of paper. You're going to write your answers as we go. This isn't passive watching. This is an active discovery. Question 1. What's driving your interest in career guidance right now? Pause the video right here if you have to, and write your answer. It doesn't have to be perfect. And not the polite version that you'd tell a recruiter. The real version. What's the pain? What's the fear? What's the dissatisfaction that you can't shake? Here's why this question matters. It reveals whether you're running from something or you're running to something. Both are valid, but they require completely different strategies. Look, if you're running from something, a job that you hate, financial desperation, a career that's wasting your potential, your timeline is urgent. You need focused execution, not broad exploration. If you're running to something, a calling, a purpose, a vision of who you want to become, your timeline is strategic. You can afford to be selective, to build toward the right fit instead of just escaping the wrong one. Here, let me show you what I mean with real responses from veterans who've already taken the assessment. I have 4 months left until I ETS, and I have no idea what jobs I even qualify for. I'm terrified of making the wrong choice. This is what we call the danger zone transitioner. The driving force here is not career aspiration, it's fear of the unknown. The military gave him mission clarity. Now he's staring into the fog. Notice the word terrified? That's not about the job. It's about identity uncertainty. He needs speed and structure, not open-ended soul searching. Check this other one out. I've been working as a defense contractor for 2 years, and I hate every day. I feel like my leadership skills are rotting, but the money is good and it feels safe. This is the regret pivot. He's not searching for a job, he's trapped in one. The driving force is wasted potential. Notice skills are rotting. That's not about salary or benefits. It's about identity decay. He's in a job that pays well, but doesn't let him be who he's proud to be. He doesn't need tactics. He needs permission to quit the safe thing. Check this one out. My husband is separating in 6 months, and I'm more stressed than he is. We have 3 kids and a mortgage, and he keeps saying it'll work out. I need a plan. This is the military spouse, the invisible CFO. She's not the one separating, but she's the one who sees the bank account. The driving force is family protection. Notice, I need a plan, not inspiration, not motivation. a plan. She needs concrete steps, timeline clarity, financial runway protection. All right, here's one more. I've applied to 50 jobs: project management, operations, HR, even teaching. Nothing is sticking. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. This is the scattershot generalist. The driving force is rejection and fatigue. Over 50 applications with 0 results. But notice what he's applying to: PM jobs, operations, HR, teaching, completely different fields. He's trying to be everything, which makes him nothing to a hiring manager or a recruiter screening his resume. His problem isn't effort, it's lack of focus. Now look at your answer. What's the driving force underneath the surface? If you wrote, "I need a job," go deeper. Why do you need a job? Is it financial pressure, identity crisis, escape from a current role? Put the details in there. If you wrote, "I want a career that matters," what does matters mean? To whom? By what measure? If you wrote, "I'm stuck between what and what," what's pulling you in different directions? You have to pinpoint it. Now write that deeper answer down. That's your true starting point. All right, question 2 is about reality check, because your strategy depends on where you actually are, not where you wish you were. What's your job search status? Check all that apply, or write them down. Content in your current role, just exploring growth, or ready for change within 3 months, or actively searching for new direction, or feeling stuck or unsure where to start, or major life transition, military separation, career pivot, or something similar. Pause again, check every box that applies. Multiple answers are perfectly normal. Hell, most people check 2 or 3. Now I understand you don't have a checklist in front of you, so just write them down. This question establishes your timeline, your pressure level, because the strategy for someone with 6 months of runway is completely different from someone that only has 30 days. Here's why this matters. The average veteran sends 31 applications to only get 1 or 2 interviews. That's like a 4.8% success rate. Not great. If you're in the ready for a change within 3 months category and you're using the spray and pray tactics, you'll run out of time before you run out of applications. Let me walk you through what each status means for your strategy. Content in current role, exploring growth. Well, this means you have leverage. You're employed, you're not desperate. You can be strategic, wait for the right fit, and turn down misaligned offers. Take time to build toward what you actually want. Your timeline is flexible. Those of you ready for a change within 3 months, well, you're in the danger zone. Not panic mode yet, but the clock is ticking. You need focused execution. Pick one target industry, one role, build a precision strategy. 3 months is enough time to do this right, but not enough time to waste on unfocused effort. Those of you actively searching, you're probably exhausted, probably discouraged, probably questioning if you're even qualified for anything. Here's the truth. If you've been searching for more than 90 days without any traction, your problem is not effort, it's your strategy. You need to stop applying and start diagnosing what's breaking in your approach. Feeling stuck or unsure where to start? Welcome to the majority. 61% of veterans rate military to civilian skill translation as hard or very hard. That's from a survey I just ran last year. You're not broken, you're just untranslated. You don't need more job postings. You need self-discovery first. And that's what this assessment does. Those of you in major life transition, this is the veteran 4 to 6 months from ETS. The person making a complete career pivot. The spouse navigating a PCS. Your entire context is shifting. You need foundation before job searching. Trying to pick a career while your whole life is in flux is setting yourself up for the same mistake I made, taking the first thing that comes instead of building toward the right thing. Now go ahead, look at your check boxes or the answers you wrote down. What do they tell you about your real timeline? And if you checked multiple boxes, including actively searching and feeling stuck, you're spinning your wheels. You need to pause the applications and do this identity work first. If you checked content, but also exploring growth, you're in the best possible position. Use that stability to be strategic. If you checked ready for a change within 3 months, you have a window, so use it wisely. Don't panic, but don't explore aimlessly either. Here's a bonus question. I'm giving you one bonus question today. It's a preview of Wednesday's Purpose Discovery module because I want you thinking about this between now and then. What problems in the world genuinely frustrate you or keep you up at night? Don't answer just yet. Just think about it. What makes you angry? What injustices do you see that you can't unsee? What inefficiencies drive you insane? Here's why I'm asking. Your anger is your calling card. The problems that frustrate you aren't random. They reveal what you're meant to contribute. They show where your purpose lives. If veteran unemployment makes you angry, your calling might be in veteran career services. If organizational inefficiency drives you crazy, your calling might be in operations. If you can't stand seeing people treated unfairly, your calling might be in HR, advocacy, or leadership development. If communication breakdowns frustrate you, your calling might be in change management or organizational culture. Wednesday's video, week 1, video 2, we dive deep into that question. But start noticing this week. What problems do you find yourself wanting to fix? And just write them down. All right, let's synthesize what you should have by now. You should have written answers to what's actually driving your career search, the real pain, not the polite answer, and you should have your current status, your timeline, and your pressure level, and the deeper why beneath your surface answers. You should understand the 3 pillars: identity, purpose, and belonging. Why a job can't fill all 3, and why your transition struggle isn't about finding the right job. It's about rebuilding who you are. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, that's perfectly normal. I just asked you to name things you've been avoiding. That's uncomfortable, but you can't fix what you won't name. Here's your assignment before Wednesday, or the next video if you're catching this late. Review your answers to questions 1 and 2. What's your real timeline? What's your true driving force? And based on your timeline, set one realistic goal. If you have 3 to 6 months or even more, commit to completing this full 5-week assessment before making any career decisions. And if you have less than 3 months, commit to completing this assessment and identifying your top 3 target roles by the end of week 3. So start noticing what problems frustrate you this week. That's the preview for Wednesday's Purpose Discovery. Share in the comments which pillar feels most broken for you right now: identity, purpose, or belonging. This community is your tribe during this process. You're not alone. You're not searching for a job. You're rebuilding who you are. That's why a resume template, it's not enough. That's why I bounced for 7 years and nearly destroyed my relationships before I did this work. This is week 1, video 1 of 15. This is a 5-week process. It's not a quick fix. If you want transformation, you have to do the work. Write your answers, be honest, identify your timeline, and notice what frustrates you. And do me a favor, or someone else a favor. Share this with a veteran who's bouncing between jobs, just wondering why nothing feels right. Or maybe a friend who's about to transition from service. Wednesday, we identify who you were proud of in uniform, the identity elements worth preserving. Shepherd 1, out.
When you're ready, this is the next video. What the military built in you that civilians can't see.